Welcome to Tuff and Tender, and listen to our new entry music. I just absolutely love that. My son Shane Drasin produced that. He produces music for TV and radio and did a wonderful job on that. And I want to welcome my co-host, the lovely Inna Tuler, who's, look how beautiful she is, my God. And I thought I was gorgeous until I looked at you, and now I feel bad that my hair didn't fall into place, but you know, I'm doing what I can do with what I got, which isn't much, it's this. We talk about various subjects with relationships and couples and family and kids and relatives. And, you know, I have to tell you a quick story. I had a friend that told me he went and sawed his toilet seat in half. And I said, why would you do a thing like that? He said, I heard my half-assed relatives were coming to visit. So that kind of made sense. But today we're going to talk about marriage because at some point in your life, you're going to do it, or you've done it several times.
And it's a very serious subject.
A very serious subject. Marriage is very serious. You're locked in for life, brother. You know, it's an institution.
That's what you think you are.
It's a sentence, and you got to do what you got to do. But it doesn't have to be bad. It should be good. That's why you got married. It has to be good, and you want to make it work for you and your spouse. So we're going to discuss that. So I think I'm going to have you do the first question, and I'm going to answer that to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
Which is very limited.
Well, we'll see.
Okay.
So what is the perfect age to say I do? And did you say I do at the right time, you think?
Well, you can say I do, and then years later you say I did.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
The perfect age, you know, I don't know. I see people getting married at 18 and 17, which is way too young. I think the average age for a woman nowadays is around 24. Which kind of makes sense.
I think 24 to 27 still think like it's like the perfect age between 24 and 27. I think marrying in their 20s or under their 20s is just too early, and most of the marriages do not last. I think also when people are older, they are much more sure in their goals. So to say I do in the later age, after they've gone through all the dating and all the experiences of a good and a bad, and they pretty much know what they're looking for, it's probably also good.
Well, maturity brings you to a different level in marriage. When you get married at an older age, you are more mature and you know what you're looking for. There's not the jealousy and the insecurity of the younger couples that they're out and they're going to clubs and bars and other people are hitting on them. So you kind of bypass that.
Yeah.
And you have to, you know, there's a term in wrestling that when you work matches in the beginning, you stink them out. You're stinking out the wrestling matches, meaning you're going through the pitfalls of it all. So in marriage, you have to stink out those first 2 years. You have a lot of ups and downs. There's things you may not like living with somebody, you know. You've got to figure out what works and what doesn't. And, you know, you make adjustments. You have to make adjustments.
It's probably a different question, but I think I do, and that the perfect age is really absolutely up to you and the level of your maturity. But like if you get married right after college, then you probably don't want kids at the beginning. That could also create an issue, marrying in that age. You know, the woman does want a kid and the husband doesn't, so maybe it's too early at the stage and it could just lead into arguments and divorces. But ultimately, it's really up to your level of maturity, and it could work in any way. But I think still that between 24 and 27, it's almost the most perfect age to get married.
I think so too, especially if you're going to have a family, because you want to be young enough to be married, but you want to have some time in the marriage in order to put it in so that you can start raising a family once you get adjusted to each other. Yeah. You know, you got to get the office in order before you bring in the employees.
Yes.
You know, it's just how it works.
Yes.
Number two, arranged marriage or love marriage. Well, that's kind of a strange question because mostly in this United States, marriages aren't arranged. There are other countries.
It really depends. It's in different religions and different parts of the world. There could be choices of arranged marriage or love marriage. Arranged marriage is sometimes easier because it's supported by both sides of both parents on both sides.
Right.
So it's kind of easy, and you don't have to argue. Well, you know, he's older, he's younger, he's this and this. You know, different mixes of the marriage. You don't have to have parents agree to anything. They kind of everybody's in agreement.
Yeah.
I personally support love marriage. You know, you're married out of love, you're married out of understanding. I think when you have an arranged marriage, then there could be a lot of issues with misunderstanding each other until until you do.
It's like I wouldn't want someone to go pick up my car for me and I drive, I don't like the car. You know, you gotta, you know.
Well, it's not. It doesn't work like that. It's just you show up in a wedding and you just meet your next your future
but
wife.
there may not be that chemical attraction with that person. You're going to get married because it was arranged and you're stuck with that person.
Well, my stepson got married in a pretty much arranged marriage.
Yeah.
But they did get a chance to meet each other for probably 8-10 times, so 3 months or 6 months, and they wouldn't get married if they wouldn't be that click. So
No.
it may be arranged, but it's not necessarily a must to have. So they just arrange the next one.
How about if you rearrange it?
Exactly, you rearrange it.
All right, do relationships last between couples who are different ages? Because there's sometimes some are much older, and I mean, I wouldn't marry a girl 14.
You wouldn't?
Well, I might.
25?
Maybe.
2 25s?
2 25s. I have one on each end of the bar when they help me spot, So what the difference, does it make a difference?
Well, for me personally, based on my life experience, it didn't make any difference. I was perfectly happy with the age difference, and perfectly happy now with the age difference. So again,
what's the age difference now?
Well, we have our 20 years apart.
Oh, so. Yeah, you're 20 years older than me.
Yes.
Well, it's okay with
Always
me.
will be.
I think it makes a difference sometimes, depending on the person, of course, if that person is not mature enough to handle it.
Or the other way around, if one plays bingo, the other one plays with the dolls. I mean, definitely there is no common interest, right?
It's okay if it's wrestling dolls. I still play with those.
As long as you agree, and it depends on you. It's a level of maturity. It really depends on you if it's going to work or not going to work. But there are some standards, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think older age also have that financial stability kind of aspect to it.
And mental stability.
And the mental stability and the work stability and other stability. So it could work from that point as well. But I think in now times, it's about 3 to 4.5 years difference between the couple, where the man is older than a woman. That's statistically what's going on.
Yeah, I want to bring this into it because this is something that I was thinking about as well. You were married at what age?
20.
All right, and your husband was what?
40.
Okay. You're a different type of person. You adjust easy, and that worked. It doesn't work for everybody.
I was ready for that.
Yeah, it doesn't work for everybody. Yeah. There is a difference between 20 and 40 in general.
In general.
Now that you're older and I'm older, and there's a 20-year difference, I don't see.
Yeah,
look at see there. We're handcuffed together.
Are we?
That's a marriage right there. You're handcuffed into it. No, it's.
Driver carries no cash. He just got married.
Yeah. He's got nice cuffs and cufflinks. You have now at our age, since we've been around and we're older, I don't see an age gap.
Well, the age kind of narrows.
It narrows down, exactly.
It narrows down, and it's not as obvious as 20 and 40.
Of course not.
It was obvious between 20 and 40, but not for me. I was mature enough to step in and marry into that package when he was divorced with 2 kids, but I was just ready. But that's me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's every situation is different.
You were married with a younger woman.
I was, several.
Several younger women?
Yes. It doesn't always work out. But that's okay. Where I am now, I feel confident with what we have, and our age range doesn't seem to bother me at all.
I guess it's a matter of communication, and it's a matter of common grounds, and if you understand each other and your goals.
Yeah.
Sometimes a younger woman marries an older man and she still wants children, and he doesn't, so that could be an issue. So that particular couple will not last.
Not only that, the younger woman still wants to go to clubs and hang out at night. That doesn't work either. No one likes that kind of stuff. While he's home watching UFC on TV like I do. How about living together before marriage? Does it prevent from marrying the wrong person, and does it prevent divorce later on? Living together.
I think that's a good recipe to choose the right person.
Yeah.
Or kind of divorce-proof your marriage, because you get to know. You get to know the person. You get to know who you're living with. You get to know their ups and downs and pluses and minuses, and sort of giving you a prerequisite to the real deal. As long as the goals are common, you know where you're going and why you're doing this. Just It does.
Look at there. I think we text those to each other.
We do those?
Yes, we do. Something like that. Not that exactly.
Without the ring.
Living together, I lived with 2 of my wives prior to getting married. I don't know that it really made a huge difference. You do learn living habits, and you kind of adjust, and they kind of work out to what they're supposed to work out to. And they don't always last. I mean, sometimes it changes as time goes on. But, I mean, it's a good test. It's a good test. But that's going to lead me to the next question, number 5. You want to read it?
Why should I attend a marriage preparation program? We've known each other for a long time and can't imagine we'd learn anything new. You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
I know you for almost a year.
Yeah.
And every day is like a new day. It's
Yeah.
like a new you.
Yeah. There's
Or
several sides to
something
me.
new to you.
Of course.
Living together, it could be part of that assessment before the marriage as well.
Yeah.
But I think people that getting married, they need those license. I mean, and I know everybody go and get their marriage license, but it's just not a piece of paper. You have to actually know something about marriage and partnership and caring for each other and compromising and communicating. It has to be some sort of a driving class before you actually get behind the wheel.
Well, I went to a marriage counselor for 2 years prior to my marriage.
You did?
I did.
Your first marriage was the class before the second?
Right. I went to one because I just was curious to see what I was in for. And some things were good, and other things she warned me about that I wasn't sure about. And I said, no, it can't be like that. It's going to be this way. And she says, trust me, it's going to change. And it changed. And it did change.
10 years after the fact, it was like, I told you so?
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. And so going to a counselor helps. I mean, this one, we got off on a different track and talking about business and income and marketing because I like talking about life in general. So that was kind of interesting for me. So
Before you got married?
Yeah, we got off on tangents talking about other things in business, which I really enjoyed. But as far as the marriage thing went, she did list a couple of things that were going to change, and I said, no, they're not. And she says, the girl's young, trust me, they're going to change, and they changed. And they did, so.
So I guess you also want to make sure that going into that marriage counseling, you have to remember what they tell you. You have to kind of be open to hear some negative things because not everything is, not every day is a holiday.
No.
There's some rainy days that you have to learn how to get through.
A lot of dark clouds come in and out of that house, a lot of with relatives.
And one lets you sleep at night.
Exactly. Second marriage lessons learned from divorce, assessment of baggage from the previous marriage. Well, that's true. You can come out of a marriage, I see a lot of people do this, and they go into another relationship carrying that baggage, thinking that, when's the other shoe going to drop? I did in the first relationship, this one's going to carry the same shoe, but it doesn't. And you wait for it, and you kind of think, okay, I know this is going to happen, and it never happens. Why didn't it happen? A different person, right?
Yeah. And?
Follow me?
Sort of.
Well, for example, if somebody does something during your relationship that you don't like, and it's embedded in your head in your second relationship, you think that person's going to do it too, but they don't.
Well, yeah, and a lot of times what happens also that you end up you get in divorce and then you end up marrying almost the same person you just got divorced from because this is what you know.
This happens a lot.
This is the worst thing you can do.
Right. I've seen women get married 2 or 3 times, and later on they find out that all men that they were married to were alcoholics. They never knew it. Oh, I didn't know he drank.
There is no such a thing. You know it. You just ignore it. You just close your eyes and you don't see. You see it. You know it. And you don't want to admit it.
Right.
But it's how can you not know that someone is an alcoholic if you are in a relationship with a person?
Well, especially when you find all the empty bottles in the trash every morning.
you even if you don't know, you smell it. I mean, you can't really not know. I mean, it's a lie. I don't believe it.
It's not just mouthwash.
Yeah.
Mixing finances, prenuptial agreements to protect inheritance, blending long-standing lifestyles. Okay.
I mean, it's part of the second marriage kind of thing.
Yeah.
You have to take that all in consideration because second marriage comes later in age. Mm-hmm. You come with maybe a family,
right,
an ex, children, some money earned, some assets
right.
Behind. You kind of have to blend it. You have to make it together. You have to step into a second marriage. You have to step into, parties with all the exes.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. It's like building a whole new business here.
Right. You got to protect yourself.
You have to protect yourself all the time,
Yeah.
but you have to protect yourself definitely.
Okay. What about interracial marriages and relationships, the mixed religions where it work?
I don't think we can answer that question ever.
No.
I've seen amazing couples that are mixed in relationship or different, you know, the blacks and whites and,
Right.
and Hispanic, and even Israelis and Jewish Americans, in my eyes, are still mixed.
Yeah.
Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. It's 50-50. But just because, you know, I think...
Are we mixed?
No. But I think that the fact that, you know, the statistics are that 50% of the marriages fail.
Yeah.
Okay? It doesn't mean that when you get married, you have a 50% of getting a divorce.
Right.
You know, it's just, that's not the right way to look at the formula. It's generalizing, yeah. Some marriages have 90% chance of divorcing, some marriages have only 10.
Right.
But the 50-50, it's not 50-50. You know, you really need to know what are you going into.
I don't know if it's 50-50 chance, but they say 50% of marriages in Hollywood end up in divorce.
That's what I'm saying. If 50% of marriages ending in divorce doesn't mean that you have a 50% of getting a divorce.
Exactly.
You know, it's not. It's the wrong way to look at it.
Yeah, it definitely is the wrong way to look at it. You got to go in with wholeheartedly 100% and put your best foot forward. That would be my right foot. And so
communication is a key.
Communication. So the tip of the week. You
Tell
want to
me.
give one, or you want me to give one?
Go for it. I spoke so much today.
Okay. Well, you're a talker, aren't you? I would say that the tip of the week is, if you're going to get married, don't ever look at it like it's going to be like a sentence, as a lot of people do. Because once they're married, people say, oh, you know, my wife and this and this. Don't complain. For God's sakes, you chose her or you chose him. We hear so many complaints. But go into it with a good attitude. You love that person. You love that man. You love that woman. They have good qualities to them. Go in there with an open mind and make that marriage work. There's a lot of ways to make things work. You are attracted to them. You want things to work with them. Work at it. You have to work at it like any business. Invest your time and make it happen. And you'll have a good marriage, and you'll have nice kids, and you'll have a happy family. You have good dinner on the table and lots of sex.
And also...
I said lots of sex.
Lots of sex.
Yeah.
Touche.
Not success, sex.
Touche. I think also don't ignore things. Don't ignore the signs.
Right.
Don't ignore the warning signs about the other person. You know, the abuse, the alcoholism, the everything. I mean, it's all out on the table.
Right.
Don't be so desperate to get married and ignoring all the negative signs that you have in the way, the road signs, because it's going to come back. It's never going to go away. It's going to come back. And then you're going to come back and say, oh my gosh, my husband is an alcoholic. Well, you knew he's an alcoholic. You married into it. Why are you complaining about it?
Here's a good analogy on that.
Don't ignore it.
You're driving down the street and there's signs, soft shoulder, road work ahead, lane closed. You watch them when you drive. You have the same road signs in the marriage. You're going to see things coming at you with personalities and different traits. Think about them and work on them and discuss them and get them out of the way. Otherwise, you're going to have a big problem
before
at the
you
end.
get married.
Before you're going to go off the cliff.
It's, you know, it's a commitment.
Yes, it is.
It's a commitment, and you have to stand by it either way. So you want to get those roadblocks away out of the way.
Thank you so
before
much
you get
for
into
saying that.
commitment.
I really appreciate your input on this. Right?
Yeah.
And thank you guys for watching Tuff and Tender. We'll be here next Friday at 1 p.m. on EmpowerMe.tv with Ric Drasin and Inna Tuler talking about your marriage problems, your financial problems, your problems.
Next week's subject is?
Divorce.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate to get on that subject, but we're going to talk about it anyway. But thank you very much for watching, and watch us next Friday, 1 p.m. EmpowerMe.tv for Tuff and Tender with Ric Drasin and Inna Tuler, the couple that knows what they're talking about.
Have a good weekend.
I'm Ric Drasin, Tuff and Tender. I'm here to answer all your questions on dating, relationships, the good side, the tough side, the tender side. Every Friday, 1 p.m. on EmpowerMe.tv. I'd love for you to subscribe. I'll be here. We'll be discussing relationships and dating and all the good, the bad, the pitfalls, and the ugly of it. Stay tuned and watch me next Friday, 1 p.m. EmpowerMe.tv.